Hi, I'm Sam Staskell, and thanks for joining me for episode 2 of Funny Things That Happen to Real Estate Agents. I'm so excited for you to meet the guests this week. So before I bring on my guest this week, I just want to put a plug in that if you are a realtor and you have some funny stories that you'd like to share and you want to be on the show, you can send an email to funnythingsre@gmail.com, or you can send it to my personal email, which is samstaskellsells@gmail.com. So without further ado, let me introduce my guest this week is Joann Rosinski from North Carolina.
Hi.
Hi, welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about you first. You live in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I do, in a little town called Cornelius, kind of northern Charlotte.
Okay.
I own my own company, On Point Transaction Management. I do contract to close and listings and training agents how to do everything.
Right.
I have been in real estate, started as an office manager for a company in New Mexico. And then when I moved here, had 2 small children and just started doing real estate administration, contract to close. And then that transitioned into me being my own business. So I've been back in the business since they had the cell phones that were, this big.
Yes. That our kids can't believe, right? That we carried a cell phone around in a giant bag. Right? So you've been in it about 24 years, you said? About
4 years, yeah, a little over.
Yeah.
And, we started out with no voicemail. Voicemail was not a thing. I installed our office's first voicemail system, and nobody liked it because they thought they were going to lose the personal touch. Mm-hmm. And then after 90 days, they absolutely loved it. And all of our listings came in a catalog every week. And it was a little black and white thing about this big that had one picture of the house and some basic information. So we have come a really long way.
So I have a question about that. So the listing packet that you got, was that the whole MLS?
That was the whole MLS.
Your office? Okay.
So no, that was all, you had to submit every week your listings.
Right.
And then they would print like the newspaper every week, and it would get this big catalog would come with all the listings.
That's just insane, because now, they're practically sold when they hit the market, if the market's that hot. I can't imagine waiting for a week for my packet to come around. That'd be awful.
Yes.
So thank God for technology.
Yes. So it's all, really good things.
Yeah. All right. So let's delve into some of your stories here. You told me a really good one today that I'm hoping I don't cry off my eyeliner again. Tell me about the uneducated seller you dealt with.
Okay. So I was at this time working as just an admin for one agent, and he had taken a listing and it sold. So, we evolve as admin, and our templates for our emails that go out and our phone calls. So I had kind of sent him one, 10-day email, and then I called him to say, hey, you're closing in about 2 weeks, and this is what you have to do. And go ahead and bring the keys to closing with you, and the extra keys, you're going to leave at the house in the counter. And he said, why do I have to bring the keys to closing? And I said, so what happens, you close, and then all the paperwork is signed, and then you give the keys to the buyers. And he said, why am I going to give the keys to the buyers? I said, because I want them to move into their house. So, this is going to be their house now. And he said, no one told me that I was going to have to move out of my house. And I was like, oh, that kind of was like funny. He's being funny.
Right. You had me going there for a minute.
It's a funny thing. The buyers, just spending a lot of money today, and they're going to want to, move into their house,
Yeah, which part of this didn't you get? Oh my God.
I'm like, oh, he's joking with me, right? And he said, no, I was not told that I was going to have to move out of my house. And I was all, well, okay, so, now I'm kind of stumbling a little bit, like dumbfounded, like I didn't know if this man was like
Right.
pulling my leg or, and I was just like, well, so here's the process, and we still got time, and then I started going through like maybe he's just emptying the garbage, that kind of cleaning the house, and he got irate, like
Yeah.
irate, and he said, "I'm not kidding. No one told me I was going to have to move out of my house at closing," and I was all.
That's the point where you're like, I wish I had a lawyer on speed dial.
Like, oh no! Thank goodness the agent was like in the office at the time, and I was looking at him like,
Yeah, you want to help me out with this?
he's looking at me, telling me, "Well, tell he needs to move out." I'm like, "No, you tell me."
Yeah.
It was just it just kind of blew up because he had bought and sold before, so I don't
Right.
understand where why didn't he think he was going to have to move out of his house?
Yeah. That's where like you have to be careful how you word things and not, like I
Right.
always say, if you're a buyer, don't speak to the seller, because you don't want to commit to anything unintentionally,
Right, absolutely.
but apparently, he should have at least talked to his agent. I don't know what he was thinking he was doing.
He's getting emails from me, well, this is still back in 2007-ish,
Yeah.
so we still didn't have, I was still like getting pictures from the photo thing and putting me in the photo book with glue sticks, right? So
Yeah.
and we're still feeling a little antiquated, but we start this whole thing off with, you're closing and you go to the attorney. Are you going to be
Right.
here for closing so you can sign the paperwork? So we
Mhm.
go through this whole thing. So yeah, over my 25 plus years doing this, my email templates have evolved. You will move out of your house at X and such time. It'll be clean.
I have to pop up this comment here because somebody knows what we're going through. She says, my in-laws were shocked when they closed that they had to be out. They thought they still had a month. Oh my God, this is like an agent's worst nightmare. I mean, my biggest fear is like they're not fully moved out, and everybody's had that where, like we're taking our last load now, we'll be gone, within an hour, and you're like, okay, it just took longer than what they thought, but to have no intention at all of moving
No, I didn't know I had to move out of my house. I'm like, okay, we need some, like common sense here.
And I would hate to be the one that has to break it to him that, hey, you got to go.
I get a lot of money for this house, and I need to leave now.
I mean, that's like he wanted his cake and to eat it too. I mean, he wanted the money for the house, but he wanted to live in the house.
I don't want to make the mortgage payments, or I don't want to pay rent because I'm not a renter because I live in this house.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So now I tell you got to move out of your house. It's got to be clean.
Yeah, and that's
many templates in my phone calls. I've gotten very.
You have the system in place now to avoid this in the future. Just so we're clear, my little disclaimer in every email is you need to be out by closing.
Right.
Yes. You wouldn't think you have to put that in there, but apparently some people still need that. Yeah. Clear directions. Yes. Oh, now what about your seller that couldn't make it to closing?
Okay, so that was, recently. So we're getting the good email templates. And I always have like a process phone call with my buyers and my sellers before, we get the whole ball rolling.
Right, yep.
Are you going to come to closing? Yes, we're coming to closing. Great. So we're going down. And again, my little email goes out. Here's what you have to do.
Right.
It's 2 weeks. And you get this call. Hey, you ready? Everything. Oh yeah. But we're in Colombia. And I'm like, oh, great. I love the zoo. Did you get to go to the zoo? Because it's, just south of us, like,
Right.
2 hours.
Columbia, North Carolina. I mean, yeah. They're about it.
So,
why are you telling me this? That's like 10 days away. We can do this.
Perfect. If you are down there, I can get a notary for you. No problem. We can get the deed down to you. Not a problem. And there no, like, as in South America. And I'm all, excuse me? Where are you?
And when are you coming back?
Are you coming back?
We can postpone it a day if we need to.
Well, you have, technically, I guess we have, in North Carolina, we have 14 days after the registered closing date.
Oh, really? Okay.
I said, well, you do have an additional 14 days if we need to do those, but I'll have to work out the details. No, we're not coming back.
Oh.
Okay, so now do you have a consulate there or an embassy? Because when we send the paperwork to you, you're going to have to get it notarized, or going to have to get it, and we got to do that like today because I don't know how long it's going to take to get from Columbia back to Charlotte. No, that's, no, not convenient. It's not convenient. And I'm all, okay.
It's not convenient. Why didn't you call me?
A quick 10-minute phone call would have solved everything in 15 minutes.
Yeah, we could have signed early. You could have signed early instead of, late. But so how did you fix that?
Well, they, thank heavens, had they were selling as a company, so they got somebody to join their company. But the Secretary of State, I don't know how they did it.
So a guy joined the company just so he could sign the paper to make the sale final.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's rich.
This is one of those, you're where?
That's one of those things where you have to start thinking about like your tax options. Like, is it smarter for me to fly back and sign the paperwork, or is it smarter for me for taxes to take this new employee just to sign this paper? I mean, there's like no thought process behind it. Like, this is a great idea. We're just going to make this guy, CEO, and he'll sign.
He's right. Somebody told me everything electronically, and I'm like, no, you have to physically sign the piece of paper that transfers the property to somebody else.
And that's where you're thinking to yourself, I wonder if this is a legal sale. This Joe Schmo that's showing up to sign the paperwork, he now works for the company. Oh, that's funny.
That was one of those, where are you? We have sellers that go out
right
all the time, but there's usually a consulate or something that they can, or an embassy, they can sign the paperwork and get it back to us. So that's boring to me,
we always make it a point to tell our buyers during the transaction, like, don't buy a car, don't open any lines of credit, all these warnings we give the buyer, but you never think that you need to give the seller, don't move out of the country. I mean, it's kind of a given.
Because when we started, they didn't live out of the country, right?
Right.
Are you coming to closing? Yes, we're coming to, okay.
Yeah.
We're good to go. You're in Charlotte and you're coming to closing.
Yeah. A week later, boom, we moved to Columbia.
Oh, we're out of here. I'm like,
meet Joe, he's the new CEO. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's good. I can imagine, like, you're really good at, you've been in it long enough that I'm sure that you're like, okay, I need ... and this will be good. We can make this work, where I'd be like, oh my God, you did what? You're in Columbia? I suck at geography. Where's that?
Well, I'm like, we're just down the road, right? No big deal. I know lots of attorneys down there. We can, no, that took a couple of attorney calls and back and forth. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that person probably didn't even learn their lesson. They'd probably do it again. Because you made it work this time. You can make it work next time, right? I'll make sure to send them to you.
How do we solve this? Oh, good God.
All right. And what about the buyers that you were helping that she needed a little help getting around?
Yeah. So, I pretty much behind a desk all the time. But occasionally, if an agent is sick or needs help and they reach out to me and it's close, I will go show a property for them.
Right.
And it's kind of like, good thing to do, help out. So this is like around the corner and I'm meeting a gentleman there and he parks, I can see him park, and this condo is like on the third floor. And I go around and I'm introducing myself. Great. And he's like, well, my girlfriend wants to come. Okay, no problem. So he's like, so she's going to need some help. Okay, so we walk around the side of the car. He opens the door, and she's bandaged from her entire head. Like she's just a hot mess.
Like a mummy.
A mummy.
With a tongue hole.
Oh. She's just had plastic surgery. And I'm like, oh, what do you say? I'm so sorry. Oh, you poor thing.
Oh, you look great.
Oh. Now we've got her out of the car, and I know we're having to help her walk to the stairs, and then all the way up the stairs. And I'm like, are you sure you want we can schedule another day? No. And you can't understand her talking.
Right.
It was poor thing. So we get up there, and she's trying to talk about the paint colors and leaning against the counter, and I can't understand anything she's saying. Finally, she says, I gotta sit down. She's sitting on the floor pointing at things. She's just jogging away, and I'm like, okay, I see, I get it. Oh,
right.
That's it.
No, that's okay.
That's a good idea.
Oh,
for a long time before she finally said, I gotta go. And I was like, we gotta go. Yes, we gotta go.
Thank goodness. Let's go.
I can't do now. No, you shouldn't be here. You should be here. I said, you need to go home and get back into bed. Yes. And I said, do not leave the house to go look at a house if you've just had any kind of surgery. No, it's just...
Right. I'm sure that was against doctor's orders too. But if you just had major surgery on your face, you probably aren't supposed to be walking upstairs.
No, and if you're just full of bandages and black and blue and everything's swollen, no, we don't need to leave the house right now.
So did they end up buying that place?
They did.
They did. Well, at least it was worth it then.
True. Yes.
It was all... I don't know if it was worth it to her.
Yeah. No.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't know if, because the agent took her, I was just showing them the home, and the agent took her after that. So I don't know if she even got to go to the place again, the girlfriend. I don't know. Bless her heart. We don't even know if she's still a girlfriend.
Right. Or what she even looked like when she took all that off.
I know.
Oh, that's nuts.
Like if I ran into her in a lighted place, I wouldn't know who she was.
Right,
so.
Right. Yeah. And she'd be like, oh, thank you. You'd be like, who are you? I'm the mummy. Oh, that's one of those things where, like, you notice people have differences and stuff, but you try not to like focus on those things. But I mean, how could you not just like sit and stare at this mummy as she's trying to talk? I mean, I've just been like, huh? What'd you say? Like, looking in there like, can you even see? Oh, that's good.
Yeah, no, so you just flow, right?
And your last story was
one. Yeah. So back in the day when I worked for a large team, I was the transaction coordinator for 4 buyers agents and 2 listing agents. And at that time, I went to all the inspections. So we were at a home near Lake Norman, one of the bigger lakes in the Charlotte area. Mm-hmm. And they are doing the septic inspection. And the buyer and I are just standing there talking, watching these guys take the tank off, and they bring hoses and they're cleaning it all out. They're getting all the goo out. And we're talking away, not paying too much attention. And all of a sudden, there's wet stuff falling from the sky. It's a beautiful, clear day in Charlotte, North Carolina.
It's a little misty.
This is a lot of water.
You smell that?
So I look at the buyer. The buyer's looking at me, and we're both like, oh. Is it colored?
It's on my face. Oh, God, yuck.
We're looking at each other going,
You're like, why did I volunteer to come today?
Yeah, I mean, it was just because it was like almost immediate when it was just, and we both thought the same thing, like, oh, this is just, oh no,
Yeah.
this is one of those things. This is not worth it. No.
Shut it off. I don't even know if you can shut it off. When they're pumping the system, they probably didn't even know what was happening, right? I mean, they're busy doing their own thing. They probably aren't paying attention to where the hose is pointed.
It's a big, huge hose that goes from the truck to.
Right.
They use a garden hose, I guess, they were, squirting down. And I guess what happened was
like a spray truck.
I said, let go the garden hose. The garden hose was going, shit. But for a hot second there, both the buyer and I were just like mortified, like, oh my God.
I'd be like, call an office. Yeah, I'm gonna cancel all my appointments. I'm just gonna take the rest of the day off.
We were both really kind of wet at that point. The office told him the story, and I'm like, so I don't know exactly where that was coming from because it was pointed down into the
right.
It was,
I've heard it next. There's no way it was straight water. I mean, that just doesn't happen.
I'm going to go home and I'm going to take a shower because we just don't know what we got hit with. So I won't be in this afternoon.
You got to wipe down the whole inside of your car now. You got to go to the hospital and get a hepatitis B vaccine. I mean, this could go a million ways. Better you than me.
He's like, hey, Joann, you need to meet us there, whatever. And I'm like, okay, no problem. But I mean, on that day, if they want, I said, if you want to go stand, I'm going to be in the house.
I mean, I've been there when they inspected it. I go when they inspect it, but I'm never there when they have to pump it. I guess now I've learned I don't want to be there when they pump it. I like to learn how things work, so I like to go to the inspection because you learn so much, that you don't know. But I don't even know how to pump a septic. I'm never going to use that.
No. Yeah, something. I go and they've got everything taken apart, and they're like, "Well, we need to show you." And I'm like, "Okay, no problem. Any water? You need to not, So if they're not sucking something out of there or squirting something in, then I go look at it. Yeah.
Like, don't stand directly where you're just like.
If you need me,
Oh, you are great. I told everybody I was so excited about you coming on tonight because you were just so funny. I mean, I've laughed so hard that I have tears, and it's nice. It's all good laughter. It's funny when it happens to somebody else.
When I saw it, I still show people the showing video.
Yeah.
And I'm not a pretty laugher. And so watch this, and they're trying to watch it. I'm hysterically laughing, snorting, eyes are running. It's like, oh, I love her. Her laugh is so infectious.
Yeah, and now I'm mindful now when I laugh cry, because in that video, somebody pointed out later that I didn't have eye makeup on one eye. Well, I did when I started my day, I swear. And you just had to point it out, didn't you? Like I wasn't having a bad enough time.
It was a bad day showing, and you have to point that out. When my clipboard passed by.
Yeah, that was the least of my problems. I didn't even need to know that. All right. Well, you've been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you
really
so much.
appreciate you coming on. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to pop you off here for a second.
All right. Thank you.
Right. Thanks. Okay, so that was Joann Rosinski from North Carolina. I hope you guys all enjoyed her stories. I sure did. I think I haven't laughed that hard in quite a while. And I'm a laugher. So if you're in real estate and you have a funny story to share or want to be on the show, please reach out to funnythingsre@gmail.com. And also I want to say that if you are looking to improve your business, or maybe you're not growing as much as you want to, my business partner and I would be happy to do a strategy call with you. We can do it via Zoom or a 3-way call. If you're interested in that, please email samstaskellsells@gmail.com. And that's it for this week. And I'm hoping you will all join me again next week for, we have, let me see who's on next week. Sorry. Amanda Patterson from New York. So you aren't going to want to miss that. I'm looking forward to her New York accent because I love those. So join us next week on Wednesday at 7:00 p.m. Central. Hope to see you then. Have a good night.